All right. So tell my viewers who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Jean-Marc Lederman, and I'm a seasoned composer. I wrote and worked with many bands. I work with Fat Gadget, with Matt Johnson, the Jean-Luc Jezebel, Ghost and Rider with Frank from Seabound, De Meyer, Lederman De Meyer with Jean-Luc De Meyer from Front 242. So I have many releases, and some under my name, Jean-Marc Lederman or Jean-Marc Lederman Experience, where I invite people to come in and to do bad things on music I write for them.
All right. So obviously I've already heard the Sci-Fi Revisited, but my viewers haven't. So explain the concept to me. Like, tell me what the idea was.
Well, this is the cover of the comics. The idea is to make something which is based on the old 1950s or 60s comics, science fiction of the time. Mm-hmm. At the time, in those days, science fiction was saying as the future will be great, and everything will be great, and we'll be flying with jetpacks, and we'll be living on Mars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things don't happen the way we were dreaming about them. So I thought it would be interesting to have a today's view on science fiction, but with a twist in the eye, something still quite live. So I called 10 artists I know, or some I didn't, and I knew from the moment I contacted them, to write or to read a novel, science fiction novel. And so you have this, which is like the 1950s, 60s view on science fiction. And every song has its own cover and stuff like that. And to access the material, you receive a secret email in which you are invited to go to a secret website, enter the password, and you go into a video game. And you need to go find 6 objects which don't belong to the view you have of the lab. And once you find those 6 objects, you are taken to the download room where you can download all the songs, all the video clips, and some PR stuff. So we wanted to make something really different and really exciting. In these days where everything is so common that nobody even cares, So at least we tried.
Now, obviously, this is a very unique project, and definitely I feel like it's different than most of the other things you've done. Was there like any major difficulties you had to deal with in figuring out how to make it work?
Well, you know how hard artists are?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine 11 of them. Every time I embark in those projects, Jean-Marc Lederman Experience project, it's always overwhelming because the idea is fun. People like to collaborate, but then they don't send back their vocals in time. I have to hassle them. So it's a lot of logistical nightmare. But at the end of the day, the result is, I think, always really great. I mean, I did others. I mean, this is 13 ghost stories, and it's 2 CD with a 36-page book. There are 23 songs on this one, and it's all based on the concept that you are a ghost and you come back on Earth for 24 hours. What do you do? So, and every artist had a different answer. Some were songs, some were reminiscing their family and stuff like that. So that's really exciting to do. And at the end of the day, it's hard work, but you love doing it because it's different, because you just fought boredom, and you know what? You won, So it's a great moment for me. It's complicated to do, it's 4 to 6 months of your life, but then it's worth it.
Okay, so I think you just answered my next question, which was from when you had the idea. How long did it... What's that?
Yes. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I think you answered my next question, which was from the moment you had the idea, how long did it take to make this album or whatever it is?
Well, actually, yeah, this one was a bit faster because I started in August and I finished it in November.
Okay. So if it's done in November, what made you decide not to put it out until now-ish?
Well, because it takes time to have everything ready. If when
Hmm.
you have project like that, you realize that credits are really important, and you don't want to fuck them up. So you have to do everything carefully. And then doing the video game took quite. My son helped me doing it. Well, actually, he did it, and we bounce ID together. And it takes time to make something that works.
Right.
You want to make something good, it always takes time and dedication.
So how did you decide who you wanted to read the stories?
Well, for the first one, at the beginning, you have ideas of who you want to ask, and then along the way, you meet other people, and you decide to do something else and to ask somebody else, and so it comes along the way. I mean, I knew that I wanted Tom to do something. I wanted Emily Rohn, with whom I have a band called Run Lederman. She's the lady girl from Chiasm, a Detroit band. And I knew I wanted to ask her, and I knew I wanted to ask Ken Magaban and a few other people, and then Jim Marcus, and then Jim Simonik, and it all, it's a natural process. And then I met along the way Das Sharp from Canadian punk band Voltage. So it's it's a process in which you meet people and you decide to go and continue and be excited by the moment that happens. You must leave quite a few doors open if you want something happening.
That makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
So obviously it's not out yet, but a few people have heard it. What have they had to say about it? People seem to like it. A few that have heard it, or?
Well, I'm a little bit overwhelmed by what people have to think about it, because everybody seems to think the idea is totally new, that it's some result, that it is very sonically different from everything else you hear. And then the way of having the product is very original too. So people are very excited about it. But we are living in an era where 60,000 tracks are being sent every day to Spotify. So excuse me if it fails, I don't know. It's always the same. You are very excited about something and you try to have a distance because you don't want to be too involved in it, because you lose your objectivity. And at the same time, you need to be excited to be able to, to sell it. This is the least amusing moment of it. When it's done, and you have to convince people to at least try it. It's very complicated.
What other projects are you currently working on?
Well, we have a Run Lederman album coming out in May. We have, I'm finishing the second Lederman de Meyer album with Jean-Luc de Meyer. So that will be out sometime end of the year, because there are still a few songs to work out. And I'm discovering new equipment I have at home, which is a huge modular system, and I'm trying new stuff. And I'm off my security zone, my safety zone, because I had a flow that was working very well for years with some equipment and some instruments I was using, and I have to decide to take it all away and start new with something that has no memories. You can't say anything. Something that you can't. When it happens, it happens. You have to record it, and after that, it's gone forever. So I don't know. We'll see what comes out of that.
If you were an animal, what kind of animal and why?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I guess a zebra, because then I could hide I could hide and nobody would see me.
That's a good one.
I'll be in the herds. I'll be the original one, but nobody would know.
What what message do you have for anyone who watches this?
Sorry, say that again.
What message do you have for anybody who might watch this?
Well, actually, I've got two. The first one is I've got no message for you. The second one is do what you feel like doing if it makes you feel good, unless it's really bad for other people. But I mean, if it makes you feel good, do it. Don't procrastinate. Never. I mean, it has no purpose. It just stops you from doing something with your brain. So just use what you have and use it every day.
That's a good message. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I wait for you to be the lead in this. So, I didn't come with my, list of questions or proposal. I just think it's interesting that you are making this interview, because I looked at the bands you had on before, the interviews and the reviews, and I'm far less gothic than all of them put together.
That's okay.
Or any of them. And yeah, but I think first, I think it's okay. And secondly, I find it interesting that you wanted that. So my question would be more, why?
Why? What
Why
exactly?
would you call this project, which is basically a very electronic project, quite out of the usual ways, and not very musical in a way? Why do you call it on your show Lunar Confessions?
I thought it was, while it might not be like goth per se, it's very like different and kind of just out there, and I feel like a lot of people would resonate with it. I feel like a lot of people who are in the goth subculture also would really enjoy like weird sci-fi stuff and just some of the interesting sound effects and stuff you have going on.
So you enjoyed it?
I did. I'm not much of a sci-fi person. I'll be straight up about that. I'm much more of a horror person, but I don't really like sci-fi. But it was just something I'd never heard before. It was very unique experience, and I did enjoy it.
Was there a track in particular that attracted your ear?
I did really that whole tangent about the space garlic, that was interesting.
The space sorry?
The one about that whole part about the garlic, that was interesting. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to like what track was what. I just like listened to the whole thing a couple of times, and it kind of all melded together a little bit.
Was that the track? Was that the track with the con woman that is selling garlic on a different planet?
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah,
that's I like that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's Mary Shear, also known as Mary Catman, and I did send that her track, and it was quite complicated to do because there are 3 locations, if you remember. There's the first planet that we won't do any, I won't tell. And then there's the second planet where she goes from kind of the customs place, then the market, and she has to sell garlic. And then the world goes mad. But so that was quite complicated to do. And I asked Tom Shear, her husband from Assemblage 23, to do the nun. But you don't recognize his voice at all at the end. But it's, when you have to do something and the track goes on for 6 minutes, because that's a 6-minute long track, it is complicated. It is very complicated. You have to give every moment a different space. You have to make people understand where they are because they don't see it and they don't read it. So it was a compelling track to do, but complicated. I'm glad you like that one.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else? I'm all out of stuff.
No, I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, as long as we're here, we may as well talk about the other tracks I did.
Yeah, okay.
So this is another Jean-Marc Lederman experience. This is Letter to Gods. And the story in this one, the concept is you can write a letter to a god or to a non-god. What do you say? And it's always the same thing. I try to give people the power to do something and to express it. And they come up with really interesting things that we don't know. This one might resonate a bit more
Hmm.
It's Raven, and it's all about artists reading old Gothic poems. So
Oh,
there's,
cool.
yeah. There's some Edgar Allan Poe. There's also Doctor Strange Friar doing something. There's the Raven.
Hmm.
Christina Z reads the Raven. So that's quite an interesting one because it's more musical. I will send you the tracks later on.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's, you see what I'm doing, and I hopefully people will want to listen to it after all the crap I just said. So
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for doing an interview. It was very fun and just very different because I mostly do like musicians and so
this
I mean, not that you're not
it's
a
so
musician, but
serious.
you get what I'm saying. It's a very different project.
Well, I mean, they are very serious sometimes, aren't they?
Mm.
The thing is, I mean, I've done it quite a few times, and I had to wait for 2010 to be able to do my own projects at home, because before that you had to go to a recording studio, or
Mm.
so technology has come a long way to help people like me. We have strange ideas but want to express them.
Yeah.
So I'm at the same time, I mean, I can only see how many bands there are. I mean, there's so many artists and so many projects. And no, I'm not going to say everything is great. No, I'm going to say everything, or most of it, sounds really bad. So
Yeah.
maybe you should, and we in the Gothic or industrial community, we are the mavericks. We have to listen to other things. We have to go away from the formula and try to do
Mhm.
something different, because we are different. So
Exactly.
voila.
Absolutely. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Eric. Bye bye.
Have a good day.
You too.